Let's go back to 1987, okay? Let's go back 30 years ago, and let's take you back to Michigan State. If your freshman year at Michigan State, you weren't playing much, and your dad said, you know what, screw this. You're not getting PT. We're going to put you across seas. You'll be playing Lithuania. Want to get you bulked up and ready to go and playing against grown men to get you ready for the NBA. How would you have felt?
First of all, I wouldn't have been ready. You know what I mean? I think, and just in my case, obviously taking a challenge of playing the game of basketball, I never was afraid of that. But I think for me, I wouldn't have been ready to go overseas to play at that point in my career. I think every individual situation is totally different. And I think if, you look at the Ball family situation, the one thing I will say about him, I think he feels he's doing what's best for his family. And the thing is, I can tell everybody there's a lot of things you can agree or disagree with him, but the one thing I can say is he's a very good dad. We're not talking about a basketball dad. We're just talking about a dad.
So that's interesting, okay? I don't want to hijack this show about LaVar Ball because sometimes he does that, but some people would look at him putting a junior in high school as his son across seas when he's still in high school and say that's not being a good dad. So how do you define being a good dad then?
Well, I would totally disagree. There are so many students here who are playing, there's a high school here close in Atlanta. There's, 3 or 4 kids that's come over to play, and they've come over in the 9th grade. So, I don't look at that's not being, a great parent. There's so many kids, that go overseas for, not even talking about sports, for different programs. So I think for, as a, outside looking in, just because there's a kid at that age being able to go over, overseas to look at his dream or to further his career what's best, I don't look at that as a bad parent.
Okay, that's interesting. That's a fair point. So you don't look at LaVar Ball and say he's just simply exploiting his sons to expand his own brand?
No, I do not. I mean, because if you look at it, everything he's done. Now, there's some things I disagree with of how he's marketed himself or his son, but I think as overall, I think that's where, as society, we're starting to put him as a category as a bad dad, and that's the point where I say he's not a bad dad. You can disagree with some ways he might be, if you want to say the management or the marketing part. You can have a conversation at that, but I don't think he's a bad dad on putting it in what he thinks is putting his kids in a situation where there's so many people have done it. There's so many different, not just in sports and on all different careers where kids do leave home for a better life in other places.